Sawadee ka. Good morning. A very warm welcome to all of you joining the PTL Set Opportunity Day. We will go over the Q3 performance of PTL and then open up the floor for questions. So coming to the key highlights of Q3, our sales revenue has increased by 53% year on year and 14% quarter on quarter. Our sales volume has also seen an increase of 10% year on year and 9% quarter on quarter. In line with the volume growth, our normalized Ebitda has also seen a 17% year on year improvement and a 9% improvement quarter on quarter. Talking about some key highlights of this quarter, we are pleased to let you know that the Indonesia BOPP line had a vertical startup, which we managed to complete in a record time, right from conception until completion. In Thailand, we have successfully commissioned the twin screw extruder, which is going to enhance our capability to produce more specialty films and enhance our specialty portfolio. As far as the recycling lines at EcoBlue, our subsidiary, is concerned, trial runs were underway in Q3, and the PET recycling line has started commercial production in the month of January, whereas the PO recycling line would be commissioned within this quarter. PTL was awarded the Best Public Company Award by Money and Banking Awards in 2021, and this follows the other quarter's achievement in sustainability, which is the ACE's Green Innovation Award and the Prime Minister's Sustainability Award, which we got in the Q2. Moving on from there, talking about Polyplex as a group, Polyplex has been a very key player in the manufacturing of plastic films for over 3 decades now. We are number 1 in terms of BOPET film capacity in Southeast Asia. Globally, we rank number 7 in terms of BOPET thin film capacity. And if we consider the non-China capacities, Polyplex would rank number 2 globally post our new line startup in the US. Our global reach spans across 75 countries, and we have a customer base of over 2,000 customers and an employee base of over 2,500 employees across the group. This has been a result of our unique combination of onshore, offshore, and nearshore manufacturing, which has allowed us to be close to our customers on every front. Talking about the growth of Polyplex, while the group started its operations in India, PTL was the first overseas venture of the group, which started way back in 2002, and we got listed in Thailand in 2004. And this step was actually in line with our strategy at that time to establish a global footprint and get closer to our customers. And over the years, we have, as it can be seen from this map, we have successfully commissioned several greenfield projects and set up manufacturing bases in Turkey and then in USA and most recently in Indonesia. We have not just focused on polyester films, we have also diversified and gone into side stream and downstream businesses and enhanced our product portfolio over the years. So the expansion from one line in 2003 with a capacity of 15,000 metric ton has now reached to multiple lines by 2023 with an expected capacity of 444,000 metric ton. This translates to a CAGR of more than 18% over 20 years. Talking about the global footprint, we have 7 manufacturing facilities in 5 countries at a group level, and this has been the result of our core strategy, and it has a two-pronged effect. It not only allows us to diversify our manufacturing risk by being present in all the key geographies, that is Asia, Europe, and North America, but it also allows us to be closer to the customers, and we get rewarded through premiums by our customers. And in areas where we are not able to have manufacturing presence, we have very well-established trading distribution offices, liaison offices, sales representatives in all the key markets, providing our customers with stability, constant support, whether it be it in sales, in R&D, in technical expertise, related queries, concerns. So we are always in close proximity with our customers. Talking about the value chain of the industries, we have upstream integrated into the production of film-grade PET resin and also recycled PET resin, which is produced in-house and it serves as our immediate raw material. Most of this is captive consumption for our base film production line. Then we have the core business, which is polyester base film, and also now with the Indonesia line startup, we also have polypropylene base films in our portfolio. In addition to base film, We produce several other downstream value-added films, which utilize some of the base films that we produce in-house, adding layers of different coatings on them. So it broadly divides our product offering into two categories. One is standard films and the other is specialty products, on which we will deal more with as we go along the presentation. So if you look at this entire value chain of the petrochemical industry, Polyplex operates in a particular space which has been highlighted, which is the production of PET resin and plastic film production. And what differentiates us from the rest of the value chain is that it is not commodity, it is quite niche in the sense that all of our production in this particular industry is based on specific orders particular to the customer's requirement for width, length, coating, thickness, the surface treatment. So everything is customized as per the customer's requirement, whereas the rest of the value chain is predominantly you produce in bulk and it can also be stocked. So this is one of the key differentiators which we wanted to highlight. Moving on to the industry applications. As I mentioned earlier, we have two broad segments, standard and specialty films. And specialty films has been one of our focus areas for over 5 years now. And currently we have about 39% of our revenue coming from the specialty product portfolio. And in comparison to previous year, we've been able to grow this from 36 to 39%. And this has been possible because this has been the core of our strategy to diversify our product and continuously keep focusing and increasing the volume of specialty products in our portfolio. And if you look at the application mix, we see that 67% goes into packaging application and 37% goes into industrial and electrical application. While Polyplex has been increasing its share of industrial applications compared to the previous year, however, compared to previous quarter, there could be slight increase in packaging because of the startup of our BOPP line in Indonesia, which is predominantly focused on packaging applications. Here are some of the pictures of various applications of our products. So the PET film and PP films cater to a whole host of applications in the packaging industry, flexible packaging segment. And broadly, we can divide it into two groups. One is the food packaging and the other is the non-food packaging. And when we talk about non-food, it is mostly personal care, health, hygiene products. And if you look at these products, the pictures, these are mostly consumer essential goods. And regardless of the economic ups and downs, this segment rarely sees any kind of contraction in demand in the market for these products. Second is the industrial and the electrical segment, which also has a host of varied applications. And what is unique about this segment is that every few years, we see that there is a wave of innovation that leads to new products or new applications coming up. And some of the fastest growing applications at the moment are the electric vehicle segment and the solar panel. And as Polyplex, with our expertise in R&D, we are able to leverage on such opportunities. And based on our global relationship with our customers, we are able to capture these new opportunities, these new applications as and when they keep arising. Polyplex has already started supplying to the fast-growing EV segment. I think last quarter, Kunamit had updated to the investors that we've already started commercializing some volumes from our Turkish entity. In Thailand, we are close to finishing the qualification process for EV segment with some of the key EV manufacturers in the Far East market. And we also continue to supply in the solar segment, which is also growing at a very fast pace. So what we would like to highlight is that industrial and electrical segment provides more stability to the margins. So we would be constantly on the lookout for new ways to increase our share in this particular segment. So this slide typically shows the correlation of the crude oil price and what impact it has on our raw material prices. So basically our key raw materials, PTA and MEG, are byproducts of the petrochemical chain. So it's quite natural that any movement in the crude oil price would have a large influence on the input prices of our raw materials. However, what is important to note here is that our industry is a RM pass-through industry, which means that our selling prices are determined or based on how the RM prices move. So whenever there's a sharp change in our raw material prices, that is if there's an increase or a decrease, with some time lag, which usually varies from about 4 to 8 weeks, we are able to pass on the entire increase or decrease to our end customers through adjustment of selling prices. So what you can see from this graph is that on the longer period of time, Polyplex's spreads tend to be quite stable as against the fluctuations that you see in the crude oil price movement. Let's move on to the strategy of Polyplex. Our 2021 goal was to be the one-stop innovation partner in the realm of plastic films. And we believe that we have been able to achieve this through our concerted efforts and our R&D capabilities. We've always been at the forefront of sustainability and innovation. Our in-house R&D team and our focus on customer care and service, along with this expertise, has enabled us to reach this goal in 2021. Our next goal would be to be the supplier of choice for all our customers globally. And in this regard, we have recently diversified into a related film, which is BOPP films at Indonesia, in order to enhance our portfolio and be a preferred supplier for all the flexible packaging film needs of our customers. And alongside this goal, we also aim to increase our footprint within the industrial and the electrical segment, as we have seen that the margins in this segment tend to be more stronger and in fact more stable compared to the packaging segment. Our next goal would be to be a global leader in sustainable solutions for packaging as well as industrial applications. And as we have been saying, we've been at the forefront of research on sustainable products, and we have been developing quite a few films in this space. We shared with you earlier that we have been successful in making 100% post-consumer recycled films, bio-PET films, mono-material films. And as we continue to innovate and develop more such films, we aim to be the leader in the space. So to achieve these three goals, as I just explained, we have adopted a three-pronged strategy. In line with our strategic vision, we would first grow our high-value product mix, which would help in providing stability to our earnings. And secondly, we would also grow our global footprint and presence. As you can see from the roadmap that we had shown, that historically we have been expanding our global footprint, and we will continue to seek more such opportunities as we go along. And thirdly, we would also focus on creating a sustainable business and product line. So in line with the first strategy, we've been focusing, particularly in the last 4-5 years, on growing our specialty product portfolio. And with the recent ongoing expansions in specialty, which we had in Thailand and in Turkey, the blown film line, the offline coater, to name a few, and the upcoming offline coater expansion in the US, we expect that this is going to give a further boost to our earnings in the medium term and near term. All these investments into specialty segment not only increase our overall margin, but also help with stability in uncertain business climates and overall help to improve our product offerings to all our global customers. So talking more about our global expansion of our global footprint, we've always been on the lookout scouting for opportunities to expand in regions where there is high growth potential and which has a very strong local demand. The latest one being Indonesia is a proof in this regard that the key reason for setting up the line in Indonesia was the presence of a very strong local demand in that market. And this has never been more vital than in the current business climate where the world is witnessing supply chain disruptions, and it has moved the market sentiment to clearly preferences for local supply over imports and a general deglobalization sentiment that is prevalent. And I think Polyplex is well positioned to take advantage of this particular situation at the moment because we are present in all the key geographies and are able to locally service the needs of all our customers. So we will continue to find such opportunities to provide underserviced regions with more representation from Polyplex, either in the form of a manufacturing base or in the form of a trading or license office or a sales and distribution representation. Moving on to the third part of our strategy, as we have witnessed recently that there has been a rising concern worldwide, primarily in Europe at the moment, around the use of plastics and sustainability. At Polyplex, we've always been striving not only to create sustainable products, but also to improve our processes when it comes to circular economy. So we have already mentioned to you some of the products that we have developed on this regard, but that is not only to say that we stop here. We keep constantly working on developing sustainable business line in conjunction with improving our processes from water, energy consumption, waste management, end-to-end processes are also, our focus is to make the processes also sustainable. And we are working with recyclers in EU to recycle the multi-layered plastic, which is considered to be a hard process. And we are also engaging with professional consultants to help us develop long-term sustainability goals and to create a roadmap for the future, which we can then have a clear, plan as to how we are going to achieve this goal of attaining a sustainable product line. And lastly, we have recently expanded our recycling capacities at our subsidiary EcoBlue. As I mentioned earlier, the PET recycling line has already started up in Jan. The commissioning of the polyolefinic recycling line has just started, and we hope to start commercial production within the month of March. Coming to the outlook for 2022 for Polyplex, we remain quite positive about 2022 as we focus on ramping up some of the recently started and about to start up capacities, which is the BOPP line in Indonesia, the blown film and the offline coater in Turkey, and the recycling lines in Thailand. And twin screw extruder, which was installed in Thailand in the last quarter, would help us to develop new specialty films over the next 6 to 9 months and upgrade all our older assets in PTL, which are now less competitive as far as standard films are concerned. It will help us to upgrade them to completely specialty lines and make PTL basically the specialty hub for the entire group. And we continue with our R&D efforts to strive to improve our capabilities to service all the new and the fast growing segments that we talked about, which is the EV segment and the solar segment. Talking about the industry outlook, so there are capacity expansions of about 1.2 million tons, which are expected to come into the industry over the next 3-4 years. But these are mostly centered in China and in India. And in our view, this is in line with the demand growth of about 5 to 7% per year. And these new capacities should get absorbed into the market very smoothly, as we've already witnessed this in the case of the additions that happened over the last 2 years. And for Polyplex as a company, any likely impact of these new capacities on our margins would be offset by the contribution that we would be able to enhance from our specialty and value-added products, and we should be able to deliver earnings with more stability. And our new assets, as well as continuous improvement of our existing lines, upgradation of our existing older lines, will allow us to optimally utilize all the assets across various locations. In the current scenario where, owing to the spike in the export freight rate and all the other challenges which are posed by this COVID pandemic, we have clearly seen an increasing trend towards local suppliers, and there is a premium that the local suppliers get for this. And we truly believe that Polyplex, with its global manufacturing presence, is very well placed to leverage this opportunity and capture those premiums due to our global presence. And that would definitely translate into earnings also, as you see, as we go along. And our ability to provide a quick turnaround, urgent delivery, our emphasis on maintaining relationships with all our customers work very well in our favor in the current business climate. Let's move on to the status update of the various projects. So talking about the key projects that we have had, just to update, Indonesia project, as we mentioned earlier, it has already started up and it was a vertical startup. We had less than a month of operation in December, but we are happy to let the investors know that the BOPP line was able to have a positive Ebitda within the first month of operation. And we expect that it would start generating net profits starting from this quarter, which is the first full quarter of operation. So if we talk about the other projects, the large project is the BOPT line in the US, where we are experiencing some delays due to some supply chain disruptions. And we have the other specialty film projects that we are having to enhance in Turkey, offline coater, the blown film line, which has just started in the month of January. And apart from that, we are having the recycling line in Thailand, one of which has already started in Jan, the PET recycling, and the other one is starting up probably within March because the commissioning is underway for the PO recycling. So if you look at all these projects, the biggest spend would be in the coming financial year, which is 2022-23. And this will allow us to increase our capacity in resin in our core business of polyester film, as well as the other downstream businesses by October 2023. Moving on to yeah, we've already talked about the delay in the US line and some project cost escalation due to the supply chain disruptions that we are seeing. So let's move on to the financials. So PTL's revenue, normalized EBITDA and normalized net profit have all increased year on year. An increase in sales volume, our improved value addition rate, and also increasing share of specialty has helped us to deliver these better results year on year as well as quarter on quarter. And if you look at the trend of the margins, reducing margins in terms of percentage is solely due to the higher selling prices, because we had to keep increasing our selling prices in tandem with the higher raw material prices. As we had mentioned earlier, that this is a RM pass-through industry. So, however, this is not a correct reflective of the operational performance. We feel that looking at the EBITDA in terms of rate per kg would be a better indicator of how our performance has been. And if you see that we've been able to gradually improve the EBITDA per kg, and this is despite the increase in our standard films after the startup of the two Indonesia lines, the BOPET film line and the BOPP line. And we've been able to maintain this because of our enhancing specialty portfolio, which we've been highlighting as our key focus area and our strategy. So moving on, if we look at the trend of the EBITDA, so quarter on quarter, we've been able to increase by 9.4%, which, as I explained earlier, was possible because of higher volumes. One is obviously the small volumes that came in from the BOPP line for a month. The other is improved productivity from the Indonesia BOPET line, because we were able to escalate the speed of the line to much higher levels as compared to the previous quarter and the corresponding quarter. And we also had improved margins in some of the businesses, including some downstream businesses. Reported EBITDA, as we've been highlighting earlier, it presents a very distorted view because of the forex fluctuation. And in this quarter, again, it's been a significant forex gain because of the unrealized gains on the euro loan restatements. So we feel that looking at the normalized EBITDA would help the investors to appreciate our actual performance. This is a trend of how our spreads or our value addition has moved in comparison to the industry spreads. And here we've tried to compare with the level of spreads in China, because China is an indicator of how the margins have been in this particular region. And if we compare it to the crude oil fluctuations and the China spread fluctuations, we are able to demonstrate here that PTL spread has been much more stable, and volatility is much more muted if we look at it over a longer period of time. And this again has been possible only because of our focus and enhancement of the specialty or high value added films in our portfolio, which allows us to command higher margins and bring about some kind of stability as compared to the other players in this industry. And just to give you a glimpse about how our specialty focus has improved over the last 5 years. So if you see clearly, we have been able to double the volumes in the last 6 to 7 years. And our target is to further double this from the current levels by year 2026. And we believe that all the investments that we are already planned and will be planned in the next couple of months would help us achieve this target by 2026. And the incremental EBITDA that we have been able to generate by operating in the specialty segment has grown from 518 million to currently at about 1.8 million Thai baht, which is a CAGR of more than 22%. Which means that, in simple terms, if we were to translate this, it means that if we were not present in the specialty segment, the EBITDA of Polyplex would have been lower by 1.8 million Thai baht in the year 2022. Moving on to our financial position, our debt equity, we are quite under leveraged, and this gives us the confidence to tap any new opportunity that we see. We can consider growth options, we can consider new investment opportunities with ease because we are comfortable on the debt equity. The earning per share has seen a constant improvement, as you can see the trend. Coming to the tax rate, yes, we do see a slight increase this year compared to the corresponding quarter as well as the previous quarter. And one of the key reasons for this is the increasing profitability at Thailand, which is now taxable for most of the businesses due to the expiry of or the exhaustion of all the tax losses which we had earlier. And also the Indonesia entity has also started generating substantial profits, much higher levels compared to a year before. And they don't have too many tax privileges as compared to the ones that we had in Thailand from the BOI. So overall, this has contributed to increase in the tax rate to about 8% at present. On the ROC and ROE, despite the increase in the profitability, we see a slight dip in the percentages. This is mainly due to the increase in the average capital employed, as well as the higher equity base compared to the last year. So we come to the end of our presentation and we would like to open the floor for Q&A. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Suprita. I'll take the first few questions. There's a question on overall industrial outlook, whether it is better than 2021. So as far as the running calendar year or financial year 22 or 22-23, we expect it to be quite similar to 2021 as of now. The first 2 months of 2022, whether they were better than last year, I expect the running quarter to be similar, the performance of the company to be similar to the previous quarter, which was quarter 3 of financial year 21-22. There is a question on average freight rates, how they would be in 2022. Going through several industry reports that we have and talking to industry experts, we believe 2022 the supply chain disruptions will continue to be there and the freight rates will continue to remain high.
สำหรับ3คำถามแรกนะครับทางด้านของมุมมองภาพรวมของอุตสาหกรรมนะครับในปี 2022 นั้นทางด้านของนะครับท่านผู้บริหารก็ได้ตอบแล้วนะครับว่าจะมีการคล้ายคลึงกับในปี 2021 นะครับปีการเงินแล้วก็ในช่วงของนะครับแนวโน้มทางด้านของในช่วง2เดือนแรกของปีนี้นะครับก็จะมีความคล้ายคลึงนะครับกับในช่วงของไตรมาส3นะครับของปีที่แล้วนะครับและคำถามนะครับในเรื่องเกี่ยวข้องกับอัตรานะครับค่าขนส่งทางด้านค่าระวางเรือนั้นในปีนี้ปี 2022 นะครับก็คงอยู่ในระดับสูงอยู่ครับ Thank you.
Okay, as far as the demand for our products, they continue to remain very robust, and we see the growth rates similar to what we have seen over the last 2 to 3 years. In fact, given the continuing impact of pandemic, we believe there is a permanent change in how people look at food safety and personal hygiene and care, and this would be a permanent addition to the demand and growth rate for PET films as far as packaging application is concerned. Also, given restrictions on movement across the globe, there is increased online activity, not only in business, but also for teaching and other such, how can I say, other such applications. And this will see a good growth rate for electronics, especially flexible electronics.
ทางด้านของแนวโน้มนะครับของทางด้านของความต้องการของผลิตภัณฑ์ของเรานะครับจะเห็นได้ว่ามีแนวโน้มนะครับที่สูงขึ้นเรื่อยๆในช่วง 2-3 ปีที่ผ่านมานะครับประกอบกับการแพร่ระบาดนะครับของสถานการณ์โควิด -19 นะจะเห็นได้ว่ามีการเปลี่ยนแปลงอย่างถาวรทีเดียวนะครับในเรื่องของความต้องการทางด้านของนะครับผู้คนมีความใส่ใจมากขึ้นในเรื่องของความปลอดภัยด้านอาหารนะครับรวมทั้งทางด้านของสุขอนามัยเพราะฉะนั้นนะครับก็จะมีความต้องการที่สูงขึ้นนะครับเนื่องจากการเปลี่ยนแปลงอย่างถาวรในเรื่องนี้นะครับรวมทั้งนะครับความต้องการอื่นที่เกี่ยวข้องก็จะส่งผลนะครับให้ความต้องการผลิตภัณฑ์ของเราสูงขึ้นด้วย Thank you.
Suprita, would you like to take this question on investment budget for 2022?
Yeah, I think in the project status update, we had given the likely spend on the ongoing projects. And as I had mentioned, the biggest spend would come in the financial year 2022 and 23, which is $86 million out of the $116 million which we have envisaged over the next 2 years, 2 to 2.5 years. So hope that answers the question. Yeah, but apart from these project capexes, we could also have normal capexes that we keep incurring on the maintenance of our various assets across the geographies. So that could be to the tune of $10 to $15 million per year at PTL console level.
ถ้าดูนะครับทางด้านของก็คือกิจการนะครับทั้งงบการเงินรวมทั้งหมดนะครับของ PTL จะเห็นได้ว่างบลงทุนของเรานะครับในช่วงปีการเงินปี 2022 ถึงปี 2023 นะครับถ้างบสูงสุดนะครับในช่วง2 ปีครึ่งนะครับจะอยู่ที่$86 ล้านนอกจากนั้นนะครับเรายังมีงบลงทุนเพื่อดูแลนะครับรักษาทรัพย์สินของเราเนี่ยให้สามารถที่จะดำเนินการต่างๆได้เป็นอย่างดีนะครับประมาณ10 ถึง 15 ล้านเหรียญครับ Thank you.
Okay, so coming to the next question, targeted average EBITDA for 3 to 5 years and growth rate. Okay, so as Suprita mentioned during the presentation, that company has been continuously investing in expanding the top line as well as bottom line. So the top line projects have been investment in a BOPET line or opening a greenfield investment in Indonesia. Phase 1 was startup of BOPET film line towards end of 2019. Then in December, the startup of the BOPP line and expected startup of the US line in 2023-24. So these are large projects which would expand not only the top line and the sales volume, but also significantly contribute to expansion of EBITDA margins, to EBITDA. On the other hand, company has also been expanding the value add portfolio, the specialty film portfolio, and also in expanding the footprint in the industrial segments. Now, this would contribute to expanding the EBITDA margins overall. So next 3 to 5 years, we should see significant growth in EBITDA coming from the base film expansions that we have implemented or are in process of implementation. Also, at the same time, we will see our EBITDA margins improving, or also compensating to some extent the pressures which we may see on margins with the new startup, new lines starting up mostly in China and India over next 3 to 5 years. So we remain very optimistic on EBITDA performance for next 3 to 5 years, not only in terms of absolute EBITDA, but also EBITDA margins.
ในส่วนของนะครับก็ทางด้านของค่านะครับทางด้าน absolute EBITDA รวมทั้ง EBITDA margin ในช่วง 3-5 ปีข้างหน้านะครับเรามีความเชื่อมั่นว่าแนวโน้มจะไปในทิศทางที่ดีนะครับมีการขยายตัวนะครับในเรื่องของการที่จะลงทุนไม่ว่าจะเป็นนะครับผลิตภัณฑ์ที่เป็น top line แล้วก็ bottom line ของเรานะครับไม่ว่าจะเป็นแผ่นฟิล์ม BOPET นะครับทางด้านของ Greenfield ในอินโดนีเซียรวมทั้งนะครับการขยายตัวของการลงทุนในสหรัฐอเมริการะหว่างปี 2020 ถึง 2024 รวมทั้งนะครับเรามีการลงทุนนะครับทางด้านของspecialty film ที่เป็น value added เพราะฉะนั้นในช่วง 3-5 ปีข้างหน้าก็มีการขยายตัวของทางด้านของ base film นะครับเพราะฉะนั้นแนวโน้มของ EBITDA นั้นเป็นไปในทิศทางที่ดีครับ Thank you.
I would also like to add that with the startup of BOPP line in Indonesia, now we have 2 large base film lines in Indonesia. Also, with the second line starting up in the US, this will alter the cost structure of Polyplex for better at both the locations. And Indonesia and the US would become the lowest cost producer in the respective geographies with these new large base film capacities.
ด้วยขีดความสามารถนะครับของทางด้านของก็คือว่าสายการผลิตแผ่นฟิล์ม BOPP นะครับในอินโดนีเซียถือว่านะครับจะเป็น2สายการผลิตที่ใหญ่ที่สุดในภูมิภาคนี้รวมทั้งสายการผลิตนะครับที่อยู่ในทางด้านของสหรัฐอเมริกาด้วยเราก็ถือว่ามีนะครับสายการผลิตที่ใหญ่ที่สุดนะครับในอันดับต้นๆของโลกเลยทั้งใน2ภูมิภาคนี้ครับ Thank you.
So this would effectively mean improvement in EBITDA per kilo. And also this will help offset the pressure on margins from the new startups over next 3 to 5 years.
ก็นะครับนี่ก็จะเป็นการเพิ่มของระดับของ Ebitda ต่อกิโลกรัมของผลิตภัณฑ์นะครับแล้วก็ต่อกิโลกรัมแล้วก็ช่วยเหลือชดเชยนะครับทางด้านความกดดันที่เกิดขึ้นจากสตาร์ทอัพในช่วง 3-5 ปีข้างหน้าครับ Thank you.
Okay, so coming to the next question, super high inflation in Turkey, how does it affect the company? So as I have mentioned in past also, all our sales out of Turkey are in euros, even to the domestic market, and our costs are either in dollars or in euros. So inflation in Turkey or depreciation of the currency has no impact on performance of Polyplex Europa. Moreover, almost 70% of our 70 to 75% of the production of Turkey is exported out of Turkey to Europe. And the balance 25%, which is sold into the Turkish domestic market, is either a whole host of specialty films or to converters or to customers who are in turn exporting their product to Europe or rest of the world.
ทางด้านของนะครับคำถามในเรื่องของ super high inflation ที่เกิดขึ้นในตุรกีนะจะมีผลนะครับกับทางด้านของบริษัทหรือไม่นะครับทางด้านของท่านผู้บริหารก็บอกแล้วว่ายอดขายนะครับทั้งหมดของทางด้านของผลิตภัณฑ์ที่มีการผลิตในตุรกีนะครับยอดขายนั้นเป็นค่าเงินยูโรนะครับและก็เพราะฉะนั้นไม่ส่งผลต่อทางด้านของการประกอบการของ Polyplex Europa ทางด้านของ 70-75% ของผลิตภัณฑ์ที่มีการผลิตในตุรกีนั้นมีการส่งออกไปในภาคพื้นยุโรปนะครับ 25% มีการจำหน่ายในตุรกีนะครับเป็น specialty film ซึ่งท้ายที่สุดแล้วทางด้านของผู้ผลิตในประเทศตุรกีก็จะมีการนะครับผลิตทางด้านของเป็นผลิตภัณฑ์สำเร็จรูปแล้วก็มีการส่งออกไปขายในต่างประเทศครับ Thank you.
So the next question is, what are forecasted sales volume for Jan to Feb 22? Will it be better than last year? So what I can say is not only for the running quarter, which is Jan to March, but also for 2022, we expect growth in sales volume. The BOPP plant, which has recently started in December, will add to not only sales volume, but will be Ebitda accretive and net profit accretive. We will also see some growth in volumes due to the debottlenecking activities in place or in progress across the group.
ทางด้านของนะครับการขายของยอดขายในช่วงของ2เดือนแรกของปีนี้ปี 2022 จะเป็นอย่างไรจะดีกว่าปีที่แล้วหรือไม่นะครับอาจจะบอกได้เลยนะครับว่ายอดขายในช่วงของไตรมาสแรกของปีนี้ปี 2022 นะครับจะดีขึ้นนะครับเนื่องจากทางด้านของนะครับสายการผลิต BOPP ไลน์ของเราในเดือนธันวาคมที่ผ่านมานะครับส่งผลให้กับยอดขาย Ebitda แล้วก็ทางด้านของกำไรสุทธิที่จะดีขึ้นรวมทั้งนะครับทางด้านของการแก้ปัญหาของสายการผลิต debottlenecking นั้นก็จะส่งผลให้ทางด้านของ Ebitda ของเรานั้นเพิ่มขึ้นด้วยครับ Thank you.
So capacity, there's a question on capacity utilization rate and how we see it going forward for 3 to 5 years, and also how will it be for BOPP. So I'm taking both the questions together. So as I said, Polyplex has the best capacity utilization across the globe. And this is made possible with a wide range of portfolio that we have and a very expansive foot on ground with our salespeople almost in all geographies, serving to varying needs of the market and the customers. So we are also one of the very few base film manufacturers who have been beating the nameplate capacity and operating the plants above nameplate capacity through continuous focus on improving the operating efficiencies of the plant. So I don't see any change in this situation, and our capacity utilizations will remain 100% with whatever product mix that we will have. And Polyplex lines have never stopped for want of orders, and it will continue to remain so. BOPP is no different. Since we started, we have broken even on Ebitda in the first month of operation, and the first quarter itself will be net profit for the group.
ทางด้านของนะครับคำถามต่อไปคำถามเกี่ยวกับเรื่องของอัตราการใช้กำลังการผลิตของเรานะครับแล้วก็จะเป็นอย่างไรในช่วง 3-5 ปีข้างหน้ารวมทั้งนะครับแนวโน้มของทางด้านของแผ่นฟิล์ม BOPP ด้วยนะครับท่านผู้บริหารนะครับก็ได้ตอบไปแล้วนะครับว่าทางด้านของเนื่องจากเรามีพอร์ตโฟลิโอของผลิตภัณฑ์ที่มีความหลากหลายรวมทั้งเรามีการนะครับก็คือจัดตั้งฟรุตพริ้นท์ต่างๆอยู่ทั่วโลกเพื่อสนองความต้องการของลูกค้าอัตราการใช้กำลังการผลิตของเรานั้นถือว่าดีที่สุดนะครับเป็นอันดับต้นๆในโลกนี้เลยก็ว่าได้นะครับเรามีความมุ่งมั่นในการใช้กำลังการผลิตอย่างเต็มที่นะครับก็โดยเฉพาะอย่างยิ่งทางด้านของนะครับทางด้านของเบสฟิล์มของเรานะครับและก็แผ่นนะครับเส้นสายการผลิต BOPP ฟิล์มของเรานะครับซึ่งเราสามารถที่จะเบรกอีเวนต์ได้นะครับในช่วงแรกแล้วก็สามารถที่จะทำกำไรต่อไปได้ในช่วงที่2นะครับ Thank you
Next question was on sales strategy in overseas market, which I believe I have already covered. Any new overseas market? So our sales is evenly spread across the globe, as was presented by Suprita. We continue to scout for new opportunities everywhere in the globe, and as and when any opportunity worth considering comes up, we'll definitely go in for that investment.
ก็ทางด้านของกลยุทธ์การขายของเรานะครับในตลาดต่างประเทศอย่างที่ได้มีการนำเสนอไปแล้วนะครับโดยคุณสุพิตรานะครับบอกแล้วทางด้านของมีท่านนักลงทุนผู้ถือหุ้นนะครับก็มีการถามว่าเราได้มีการนะครับมองหาช่องทางนะครับทางการตลาดในประเทศอื่นๆนะครับซึ่งเป็นประเทศใหม่หรือไม่ก็เราพยายามที่จะดูแลสอดส่องนะครับในเรื่องของโอกาสอยู่ตลอดเวลาเมื่อมีโอกาสนะครับในตลาดใหม่ตลาดไหนก็แล้วแต่เราก็จะเริ่มทำการลงทุนในตลาดนั้นๆนะครับเพื่อพยายามที่จะให้ได้มาซึ่งโอกาสนั้นครับ Thank you
As far as electric vehicle segment is concerned, we continue to expand our product range for the EV segment. We have initiated commercial sales to a large Far Eastern producer of lithium-ion batteries for EVs in Europe. And we are close to qualification in Far Eastern market with another large converter who's catering to lithium-ion batteries. So we see it as a focused and a very important segment for Polyplex.
ถือว่านะครับเป็นกลยุทธ์ที่สำคัญเลยทีเดียวในเรื่องของผลิตภัณฑ์ของเราที่เกี่ยวข้องกับทางด้านของภาคอุตสาหกรรมนะครับทางด้านของยานพาหนะที่มีการใช้ไฟฟ้านะครับเราได้มีการนะครับก็คือว่ามีการทำธุรกิจนะครับร่วมกับบริษัทที่อยู่ทางด้านของภูมิภาคที่อยู่ใน Far Eastern นะครับในเรื่องเกี่ยวข้องกับการที่จะมีการที่จะทำธุรกิจในเรื่องของผลิตภัณฑ์ของเรานะครับที่เกี่ยวข้องกับทางด้านของบริษัทนั้นที่มีการผลิตแบตเตอรี่ลิเธียมนะครับและเราก็มีการนะครับดำเนินการต่อเนื่องเพื่อที่จะสืบสานธุรกิจที่เกี่ยวข้องต่อเนื่องไปนะครับกับบริษัทที่อยู่ทางด้านของ Far Eastern Thank you
Okay, so I'll take the last two questions which I feel have required to be answered. On number one is on EcoBlue. So how will EcoBlue contribute to overall sales and volume margins? So EcoBlue will contribute positively to sales volume. So it will be sales volume accretive as well as it will help expanding Ebitda in absolute terms, and also it will contribute towards expanding the Ebitda margin.
ทางด้านของธุรกิจ EcoBlue นะครับแน่นอนว่าส่งผลทำให้ทางด้านของยอดขายสูงขึ้นนะครับรวมทั้งมีการส่งผลนะครับให้ทางด้านของค่าของ Absolute Ebitda เพิ่มขึ้นรวมทั้งค่า Ebitda Margin ก็จะเพิ่มขึ้นด้วยครับ Thank you
And recycling industry is set to grow over next 10 years with global efforts towards achieving sustainable environment and circular economy.And EcoBlue investment is one important investment in this direction.
แน่นอนนะครับกลยุทธ์การลงทุนใน EcoBlue นั้นเป็นกลยุทธ์ที่สำคัญในช่วงทางด้านของทศวรรษหน้านี้เพื่อจะนำไปสู่นะครับทางด้านของการส่งเสริมให้เกิดความยั่งยืนของสิ่งแวดล้อมรวมทั้งก่อให้เกิดระบบเศรษฐกิจหมุนเวียนทั่วโลกครับ Thank you
Supita, would you like to take the question on dividend?
Yeah, I think the question is on the dividend payment at year end and whether it will be changed and what is the future on higher dividends, whether it's sustainable or not. So I think this is Earlier, we had been paying interim dividend only based on half-yearly result, but this time, since the quantum of the earnings has gone up substantially and the EPS has also gone up, the board has considered interim dividend payment in the Q3 as well. And as we see the earnings in the future also grow in the similar manner, we hope to maintain sustainability and pay interim dividend on quarterly basis. Hope that answers your question.
ก็นะครับทางด้านของเรานะครับคาดการณ์เนื่องจากทางด้านของผลประกอบการที่ดีขึ้นเรื่อยๆนะครับเราก็คาดหวังว่าจะมีการจ่ายเงินปันผลนะครับระหว่างการนะครับเป็นไปตามผลประกอบการที่ดีขึ้นเรื่อยๆนะครับในแต่ละไตรมาสครับ Thank you.
And on the dividend payout ratio also there has been an improvement. We had paid at 30% in the previous year, which is the board has considered at 35% on adjusted profits, which is clearly because we have successfully commissioned one project in Indonesia and we see the results coming out of it in the coming quarters. And we hope to maintain these increased levels in the coming quarters as well.
ทางด้านของนะครับอัตราของการจ่ายเงินปันผลของเรานะครับ Dividend Payout Ratio อยู่ที่ 30% นะครับเนื่องจากเราสามารถเริ่มดำเนินธุรกิจทางด้านของนะครับส่วนหนึ่งในอินโดนีเซียได้อย่างประสบความสำเร็จและเราก็เห็นแนวโน้มที่ดีขึ้นเรื่อยๆในอนาคตนะครับในเรื่องของอัตราการจ่ายเงินปันผลครับ Thank you.
I think we can take one last question on the main reason for difference between the PTL spread and China spread. Amit sir, would you like to take that?
Okay, so as we have been discussing during the presentation as well, Polyplex has been continuously investing and expanding the product portfolio and also expanding on the value-add products within our portfolio and the Ebitda contribution coming from these value-add segments and specialty films. Now, this is the main reason for the difference between China spread and most of the Chinese companies are focusing only on the standard films. However, Polyplex has a very healthy mix of products in its portfolio, and not only products but has a geographical mix, whereas we have evenly spread sales across the globe. And not all geographies perform in the same manner through the year. Some geographies, when some geographies are weak, let's say the demand is weak due to holidays or festivals, the other geographies continue to perform better or superior than those geographies. So I would say, and these margins will continue, the difference would continue to expand, whereas Polyplex will outperform China even more than what it has done in past, with all the new investments in specialty segments and value-add segments which are underway.
ทางด้านของการลงทุนอย่างต่อเนื่องของ PTL นะครับในเรื่องของทางด้านของแผ่นฟิล์ม Specialty และก็แผ่นฟิล์มนะครับทางด้าน Value Added ซึ่งมีความแตกต่างจากทางด้านของอุตสาหกรรมการผลิตแผ่นฟิล์มในจีนนะครับซึ่งส่วนใหญ่แล้วมีการลงทุนในทางด้านของแผ่นฟิล์ม Standard เท่านั้นเพราะฉะนั้น Spread นะครับของทางด้านของ PTL นะครับก็จะมีความแตกต่างกับทางด้านของ Spread ของทางด้านของบริษัทในจีนต่อไปเรื่อยๆครับขอบคุณมากครับ Thank you very much.
And not only we will outperform China, we will outperform the industry in coming years, and we will also outperform our competition in Southeast Asia and in Europe and US.
ผลประกอบการของเรานะครับในเรื่องนี้แน่นอนนะครับจะดีกว่าทางด้านของในส่วนอื่นๆในภูมิภาครวมทั้งทางด้านของคู่แข่งของเรานะครับในภูมิภาคทางด้านอาเซียนนี้และก็ในภูมิภาคอื่นๆด้วยครับ Thank you very much.
So I think we've run out of time. So thank you very much for your time and for participating. Sawadee ka.
Thank you.
Thank you. ขอบคุณครับ
ขอบพระคุณครับ